I've been recording this whole time, I didn't realize that. Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to be talking about Mulan. Mulan is a 2020 Disney Plus original release about a girl named Mulan who disguises herself as a boy and fights in an all-male army to protect her father. It's directed by Niki, Caro, cinematography by Mandy Walker, editing by David Coulson, music by Harry Gregson Williams, and it's written by Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver, Lauren Hyneck, and Elizabeth Martin. The film stars Yifei Liu as Mulan, Donnie Yen as Commander Tung, Gong Li as Xian Yang, Jet Li as the Emperor, Jason Scott Lee as Bori Khan, Yoson An as Hong Wei, Si Ma as Zhou, and Rosalind Chao as Li. In 2010, interest about adapting this into live action started, and they really wanted to cast Zhang Ziyi as the lead and then have it directed by Chuck Russell, but it fell through. In 2015, redevelopment started and the first set of writers tackled it. 2016, the second set of writers, Jaffa and Silver, started tackling it, and they interwove the animated classic and the original Ballad of Mulan that is from China, the myth. They really wanted to please both audiences. They got rid of Mushu because Mushu was less than desirable to the Chinese audience back in 1998. When the film was announced, there was an outcry. They were worried that the film was going to be whitewashed. Then Disney did a public, worldwide search for a Chinese actress to star in the film as Mulan. They wanted someone that could have intense martial arts experience, who could speak fluent English, and had a star quality. They found Yifei in 2017, and they did want an Asian director and had searched for an Asian director, but kept, after a few declined, that he landed on Niki, Caro, who is not Asian. She is from New Zealand. But it is the second movie with over $100 million budget to be directed at Disney by a woman. Filmed from August 2018 to November 2018 in New Zealand and China, it is the most expensive movie directed by a woman. I don't know if that's still true, but at the time it was the most expensive movie directed by a woman ever. And multiple companies worked on the VFX. Sony Pictures Imageworks, Weta Digital, Framestore, and Image Engine. So there were quite a few controversies surrounding this movie. Also, it didn't go into theaters like they had originally wanted, so this movie did pretty poorly. The first controversy that happened was apparently they filmed in a city called Xinjiang, which is a city in China, I guess, where human rights abuse is taking place. People all over the world condemn Disney for filming there, and thanking the location and its officials in the credits, because in a film's credits they always thank the areas and cities they've filmed in, as like, you know, because thank you, let us film there. But apparently, I didn't look super far into the Xinjiang thing, but apparently, like, work conditions there are really, really not okay. A lot of human rights abuses happening in that city. So it was, a lot of people frowned upon Disney for thanking the city and let alone filming there to begin with. Another controversy was that of basically everyone behind the camera was not Chinese or of any Asian descent. It was mostly white people. And the biggest upset was that it wasn't a Chinese director, which I totally get. Wouldn't be the first time, obviously. Another controversy was the character of Li Shang had been dropped. Disney and the writers and everything had dropped Li Shang because this was right around the time of the Me Too movement, which should be all the time, by the way. But basically, they didn't want Mulan's love interest to be her commanding officer because of the weird power dynamic there. But on the flip side, the controversy this caused was a lot of people consider Li Shang a bisexual representation, because in the animated film, it feels very much that Shang's romantic interest for Mulan starts when she's disguised as a man, suggesting he's bisexual. And that upset a lot of the LGBTQ community. They felt like they were just like taking away some of their representation. And then finally, Yifei Liu had reshared an image from People's Daily that quoted someone who said, "I support Hong Kong police, you can beat me now." And an English quote, I think she said this, "What a shame for Hong Kong," which sparked huge controversy, saying she supported police brutality. And so then because of this, she did not appear at D23, so it was like literally just the director at D23 to discuss the movie. I might stand corrected. I did write a note saying it was a box office failure because of COVID, so it might not have been a Disney Plus direct release, but I can't imagine we were back in theaters by this point. But basically, it did do well. It's got a 72% Rotten Tomatoes, though, consensus. It could have told its classic story with greater depth, but the live-action Mulan is a visual marvel that serves as a stirring update to its animated predecessor. It did not do well in China. It has a 4.7 out of 10 from reviews in China. It was nominated for Best Costumes and Best Visual Effects. It didn't win. There were sequel rumors before the movie had even come out, but nothing has ever been said since. The cinematography might be the best part of this movie. I've got a couple pieces I really like, but the cinematography is so unique compared to not only the other live-action adaptations, but a lot of the stuff Disney was putting out around this time. The cinematography, first of all, the composition is stunning. Are we kidding? It is, so many of these shots are a work of art. It's gorgeous to look at. Like, oh my gosh. Secondly, the movement during the action is so fun and so good, it makes me want way more action sequences, which, like, it's me we're talking about. We're like, if there's too many action sequences, I'm like, what are we doing? Tell me the story. This, I do think, could use more of the action sequences, because the way the camera moves in those sequences is so fun, so dynamic, so unique. The camera moves with the people, upside down, side to side, every which way. I think it's so fun and such a change for other live-action films that Disney has done. Granted, this is probably the most action-packed live-action adaptation from an animated movie they've done, but I digress. So dynamic, so fluid, and it's stunning. It is so beautiful. The effects, some of the effects, like, especially, like, the dramatic, like, chi fighting effects are a little, like, cheesy, but I think that's 100,000% intentional to, like, pay homage to classic, like, kung fu Chinese films, because, you know, like, are obviously on wires flying through the air doing, like, crazy kicks that, like, human beings cannot jump that high, etc. They did that in this film, and that it feels 100% intentional and fits completely. I wasn't mad about it at all. As Disney has a tendency to do, this is much longer than the animated film. However, I was never bored. It moves, it makes sense. There's nothing that stood out about the editing, besides, like, how they used all the shot choices and everything, which was really great. Otherwise, the editing mostly went unnoticed, which is great, and I was never bored, which is great. I think the score is the other standout part of this. Harry Gregson Williams creates something new while using stings and themes from the original animation so perfectly, I can't even begin to explain it. When the Honor to Us All musical sequence would be happening in the animated sequence, he's using the themes of Honor to Us All. So there's this big score happening, well, not big, but, like, there's a score happening, but you hear in, like, a different way. Perfect. The people that know the animated movie would be thrilled to hear this. And then the other big theme they use is reflection, which kind of becomes, like, Mulan's, like, conquering theme, and it's so good. The biggest moment that, like, just is when she's climbing the mountain, finally embracing her chi up the mountain, and its reflection is part of that theme that's playing. It is so good. It makes you, like, happy as someone who knows the animated film to hear these things, because this movie is not a musical, obviously. This movie leaned much more into, like, the action and traditional, like, Mulan myth than keeping it, like, an animated, like, keeping it a musical. And so it is not a musical, and I'm honestly not mad at that. Like, if you're gonna make live action adaptation, you need to decide if you're doing, like, almost a shot for shot which is stupid. If you're doing that, why make that? That's just a money hungry. Where this, they're like, okay, the animated film is great, let's lean into the actual, like, source material and go a little bit more serious, a little bit more adult with it, and, like, the music is so effective in this. I'm not mad that it's not a musical at all, because they pay enough homage to the musical through the themes of the music, and then the actual score is breathtaking. Okay, so if you know the animated Mulan story, it's basically this. The only thing that's different in this is, one, it's not a musical, and two, there's a little bit more of a supernatural element to it. They do lean into, like, a supernatural magic element. Their chi, I'm sure people have heard of chi, like Tai Chi, or in, like, some animes they talk about chi, and it's all about, like, that's your energy, or your inner energy, and how you, like, interact with the world, and can you, like, pull your chi to do things. And, like, in fictional things, a lot of the time a person can, like, manifest their chi in an energy ball or something, you know, etc., etc. Where in this they kind of lean into it. It can give you kind of like a supernatural ability. Obviously, with Xiong Yang, she, like, can turn into birds and different animals and people, and, like, she's, like, full-blown magical powers witch level. Where, like, Mulan just uses it for faster reflexes, jumping higher, like kind of like to be a better warrior, right? That's how Mulan has used her chi. And some people, like, are really able to use their chi, and others just, like, are normal people. And so I know that was also a criticism from China about how magical they went with it, because in the Battle of Mulan, I guess, like, it wasn't really, like, a magical thing. She was just strong and powerful and whatever. So I think it's interesting that they went, like, they full pushed into the chi aspect of it, and I do think that's the weakest part of the story. I think it's unnecessary, because obviously the animated film had nothing to do with her having any kind of magical ability, and some other villain having some magical ability. It was just, like, a girl who got strong and was smart and kicked some butt, like. And so I don't think Mulan having chi and then this character they created, Xiong Yang, I don't think is necessary. I think the Bori Khan is a good enough villain, smart enough, scrappy enough. I think Mulan not having magical powers, but being, like, having the willpower that she has and the courage and strength and, like, all that kind of stuff, I think that would have been good enough. I do love this whole, like, loyal, brave, and true thing they have going on throughout this. So then you can see the struggle with her lying to everybody, because she does want to embody the loyal, brave, true. I get what they did with the chi and all this kind of stuff. I do think it's funny that they introduced this character, Xiong Yang, and, like, her whole motivation is, like, people have considered her a witch and pushed her out and ostracized her. And so she found, like, you know, Bori Khan to help her kind of, like, in her own way, she thinks she gets to be free. But her thing is, like, she doesn't want to be viewed as a villain, but she's doing villain-type stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like, what are you doing? If you don't want to be seen as a villain, why are you doing this with him? But, you know, you don't see her whole journey. And then I do think, like, her sacrificing herself for Mulan kind of comes a little bit out of nowhere, because she was trying for, like, some of the movie to pull Mulan to her side, and all Mulan has to say is, like, look it, they've accepted me. You could be accepted too then, so why don't you help me? Like, that felt a little lazy, which is why I think Xiong Yang is so unnecessary, and I think that was a weird addition, and that would probably be my biggest complaint. I think it's cool. I think she's a cool, like, that's cool. She can do all that stuff. But again, I think the whole magical aspect of the movie is unnecessary. Anyway, all the boys saying they believe Mulan, that almost got me, dude. That almost got me. That was so good. The scene where she goes in place of her dad is so good. I know in, like, the movie it's the classic, like, do 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 do, but in this, like, it's a lot more quiet and a lot more, it's so good and painful. There is a parent death. The Bori Khan's dad did die, and he's definitely, like, a main character. He's the main villain besides Xiong Yang, and she obviously technically ends up good. I also think it's fun that the Bori Khan is Jason Scott Lee, who was Mowgli in the 90s live action Jungle Book. Come on, that's super cool. But yeah, this, I wish it wasn't tainted with a bunch of the behind the camera controversy because it's an enjoyable film. It's a pretty good live action adaptation. They do enough different stuff that was good, and the film itself is stunning, and an effective story and beautiful representation. I just wish a bunch of the behind the scenes stuff that was kind of like the controversy behind the scenes, which Disney can and should do better behind the camera. They should vet where they're frickin' filming, right? Like, what are we doing, guys? The movie that you watch is good. At least I think it's good. I cannot speak from a Chinese perspective because I am obviously not Chinese and not well versed in Chinese culture or history. The sets and costumes, stunning. If some of the sets were green screen, I mean, I know some of it was, I could tell some of the green screen, but there were some sets where I was like, I don't think this is green screen, and this is freaking stunning. It, absolutely gorgeous. The costumes, oh my god. The set, when I tell you this movie is stunning to look at, I'm not kidding. My favorite part is definitely at the end when the Emperor's Guard comes and brings Mulan the gift. I almost cried. I did not cry watching this movie. I'm a little emotional thinking about it because how beautiful that in front of her whole little town that thinks there's dishonor on her family because of, one, the matchmaker saying that Mulan's not worth it, and then two, that she snuck away and is bringing dishonor to her family. That whatever happened, Mulan's the reason China is saved, and she's getting this honor from the Emperor, and the Emperor wants her to be in his royal guard. Like, that moment is so magnificent. Like, it's everything, right? And then my least favorite part is probably the fumble with the Xiong storyline. It just is weird. Like, the magical aspect is a little unnecessary. The story is so good by itself. You don't need this chi magical Xiong side of it. Like, you just don't need it. So I think that's probably my least favorite part, other than all the crap that was going on behind the camera. That sucks. Recommend. I would recommend it. If you're gonna watch live action remakes, there are far worse to watch. Would I watch it again? Yeah, I would. I mean, it's good. Like, it's a good movie. Like, it's entertaining. It's touching. I wish the crap in the background wasn't going on, but, like, as a movie, it's good. I mean, the 1998 one is really good, so I feel like, you know, it was bound to happen. Although they can really fumble a bag, so I don't know. But I honestly found this very enjoyable. I had seen it back in 2020, and I hadn't seen it since, so it's obviously been 5 years since I've seen it. So it was, like, I remembered some of it. Like, I remembered a decent chunk, but I didn't, like, remember. I remembered, you know, the magical lady, right? I remembered Xiong Yang. And I remembered, you know, because I know the Mulan story from the 1998 animated one, so, like, I remembered that stuff. But this was enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie. And I really wish Disney would get their crap together. Truly. That's everything I have for Mulan. My final rating is gonna be 8. I kind of want to do the combs, because that's the thing that, like, stayed, you know? I think I want to do the combs. 8 combs out of 10. Our total movie count is. Our parent death toll is. Crack count is still the same. If you want to keep up with what movie I'm watching, follow me on all socials and check out my website. It's freaking cool over there. Join Patreon. I got a tier starting at just $1. You get every video a week early. Tiers above that, daily trivia, monthly postcards, bonus content, etc. Go check it out, okay? Buy merch. This is an oldie but a goodie, guys. Until next time, comment, like, subscribe. I'm not in charge of your life. You are, so you, and don't be Boricon about it, obviously. Now, Jason Scott Lee, on the other hand.